Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching The Fall of the House of Usher, Season 1, Episode 6.
Goldbug.
We had a nice tension break between watching the episode and recording this, so we're coming with a much more chipper energy than we finished.
Yeah.
That was spectacular.
It was very good.
I get nervous I think it's because I've liked all of Mike Flanagan's work so much that I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, I keep waiting for, I'm like,
we're still in, like, the Pixar or, like, the, phase 2 Marvel thing where it's, like, everything's a hit.
Well, and especially, like, episode 1 and 2, I'm like, okay, this is good, but we weren't in it. Like, yeah. I hadn't, it's like when you get into a swimming pool and you haven't adjusted to the temperature yet, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And because I feel like our episode 5 coverage was lackluster, but that's just because I was mentally and physically exhausted.
It also just, like, was so good that it's like, hard to really get in it.
Like I said at the time, I mean, that's arguably the most famous story. So I just knew I was just watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I just knew what happened.
Well, it's kind of like they left it all on the floor, so what else is there to say?
Yeah.
And like when you and Trevor have these episodes on your Buffy podcast, but it's like it's either going to be the shortest episode of all time or the longest episode of all time.
Well, it's like
when it's a really good one.
So usually when it's our favorite episodes, a couple of times we've gotten in and out in like 30 minutes, and I'm just like,
how many times can you say it's just so good?
I don't have any criticisms, but it's like, then, we talk for like an hour and a half on the Go Fish episode because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, but also it's like, we're at the point where we're at culminations. So it's like, we had a lot to say earlier because it was still plotting and establishing and moving things around. Now we're watching things kind of unfurl.
Yeah.
And we're also kind of like waxing poetic about like what we think is going on, but like episode 5, we're in it and we like know what's going on at this point. So
I really liked this one.
Me too.
It was Tamerlane's episode, and you made a very interesting observation about halfway through.
I mean, there were like, how long was this episode?
We got back.
Well, back at the beginning, but there was like a solid 20 minutes in the middle of the episode where we didn't even see her. I just was like, it's hilarious to me that she's an afterthought in her own episode. Because the rest of the episodes haven't been that divorced from the character that's about to die. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It felt suiting. I liked that.
Especially given the things that Verna was saying to her in the apartment at the end, where she was like, you fucked it all up again. And this is like, you're always the second, and you're always like just trying to claw into your own thing.
Well, she feels like an afterthought in her own family because like Goldbug is a copy of Goop. Like she's not doing anything particularly groundbreaking.
And also she's not the powerhouse behind it. Bill is.
Yeah. That's been true of like, all of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were having the culmination of Tamerlane's arc, but also the Verna plot was sort of coming to the surface.
I like it and I don't like it. I just like Madeline is still being really sort of circuitous about it when she speaks to Roderick, because she's like, I know you remember that night. I know you remember. And I'm like, I just need you to look him in the face. Remember that deal with the devil that we made that got us here? She's coming to collect.
I think it matters when and how you say that.
Well,
and
he's not getting saner.
Well,
I mean, after 3 kids just dying within a week, I'd be like, okay, so we need to have a spooky conversation.
Something's happening.
We need to come to spooky Jesus right now.
I just like, I wasn't expecting to kind of shift with the siblings where I was terrified of Madeline and I felt like Roderick was our only reliable point.
Yeah.
And now I've swapped where I'm like, oh, we need mommy to come fix this because dad's losing it.
Do you know what else is interesting too? Because so we talked about it a little bit at the when we were out today. But what's interesting to me is that this, again, it does seem like punishment for Roderick specifically. Like this is all like his chickens coming home to roost. Which I think is the interesting notion of her basically telling them all, or specifically Camille and a little bit Tamerlane, Verna telling them like, this could have just happened in bed at home. Like, I don't think the point is to make the children suffer.
No.
Yeah.
They are just meant to die. But they're suffering because of their own pride and
well, and it's
everything.
the whole like the wealth and power corrupts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because I mean everybody dies. That is the great equalizer.
Yeah, but to have someone say this part has nothing to do with you. Ow! Like, I'm losing my life over nothing that I've done at this. How I'm dying is my problem, but the fact that my existence is being ripped from me because of choices somebody else made, fuck that. I would be.
But that's also so true.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it can be.
But then that's also kind of like the bigger thing of like these pharmaceutical companies that are making all these horrible decisions and ripping lives away from people because of their bad decisions. So it just was like, that hit me sideways when she said that.
We had a really big, it's not really a reveal, but the show sort of tackled Verna head on.
Yeah.
Where we had Pym, and Pym somehow got more interesting.
Yeah.
He's like a Jules Verne explorer.
He, according to Roderick, put off law school and elbowed his way into a worldwide expedition where he went all the way around the world to the North and South Pole, and never will ever tell anybody the end of any of the stories of what he's done.
Especially the North Pole.
Yeah.
And
apparently he told Tamerlane that
it's been a game with the kids to try and get as far into the story as they can.
Yeah.
And he told the kids,
Earth is hollow. Just Tamerlane, it sounds like, and that there was a race of people at the North Pole.
Altathuma,
yeah.
I think.
I was gonna say, I can't wait for this to be over so I can actually Google that, because I'm like, that's gotta have roots somewhere.
Probably.
But it's people that exist out of time and space.
So they have gotten some sort of lock on Verna. Pym found her, the picture of her ID in Victorine's house, and they traced the address back to their childhood home.
Yeah.
And so Roderick is taking a very logic-based, when he's not ripping through time to take the eyes away from a goddess. My dude. I'm nervous to say that based on this.
Like, just
so when he's not up to that, he's logicking it, where he's like, this is a mind game that she's playing with us. These images are photoshopped. We got this like slideshow of Verna. It's twice in this episode we really waltzed up to the line.
We did, yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anything broke. But we got very close.
Well, it's like, this is very clearly taking place in the real present day, so I'm, like, fine with the real world people, but it was...
And they've sprinkled it, we got Timothée Chalamet, and they said the word Kardashian. It's
but
like,
it was jump scare after jump scare after jump scare.
Weirdly, because, I didn't know, what was it, Koch? Is that what you said? David Koch.
The Koch brothers are, like,
I'm familiar with the
thing.
name. I didn't obviously recognize the picture. And so the next one was Zuckerberg.
No, you don't see their faces. They are a behind-the-scenes family.
The next one was Zuckerberg, and I don't know why. I yelped like a dog that had just gotten its tail stepped on. Like, there was just something about it.
Well,
like,
then I did it with Mitch McConnell and Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. There was ungodly.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I feel like I need to go get my holy water just because it's here a little bit.
Well, because we're watching this so that we don't have to look at those people.
God damn it, Mike Flanagan.
And so it was the biggest jump scare of the entire. I'm not kidding. Yeah. If you watch our reaction, I reacted the strongest to that.
And then what was actually kind of funny in a very tongue-in-cheek present day kind of thing is that it was young Donald Trump. It was not, it was like 80s Donald Trump, not now Donald Trump.
I'm so mad that you're gonna summon him. Stop saying his name.
I'm sorry.
Strike it from the record. So there was that.
Can't be afraid of the name, Will.
Fear of the name only increases fear of the thing itself.
I'm not afraid of it. I don't want him to have the satisfaction of being infamous.
Oh.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Regardless. And so the second time, and we'll get to Tamerlane's actual plot.
Well, and also it went all the way back to like the Rockefellers in 1901.
Yeah.
What family was the first one?
Well, they said Vanderbilt.
Rockefeller. It was like
Monsanto.
Monsanto.
The
guy who like started Monsanto, which is real bad.
But we did specifically have a scene where Madeline saw Verna and confronted her, and she evaporated.
She went right towards, she said, I'm right here.
Yeah, and she grabbed her and she turned to smoke, but then there was like residue all over Madeline's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And
but only after Tamerlane totally brained Juno with the mic stand.
I was doing something. Her disappearing in the puff of smoke was the second time that I was like, woof, we're getting really close to the line. And the full disclosure, I did listen to Pop Culture Happy Hour last night, and one of their observations that I'm going to steal, but I credited, was that more so than Flanagan's other works, this one has utilized camp.
Oh.
And I think that's why it's worked.
It's really...
I think if we didn't have those breaks in tension...
Yeah.
That was a Kylie Minogue reference. We didn't have those breaks in tension. I think that if something takes itself too seriously, you can risk it collapsing in on itself.
Watch our Twilight coverage.
Yeah.
Because you want to talk about a series that takes itself entirely too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about this morning, too, and she goes, I didn't have any spooky dreams last night. And I was like, I think it's because it's funny.
Yeah, you want to know who I did have dreams about? Cody Brown from Sister Wives.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
Yeah. I dreamt that he sold my Mini.
Okay.
And got me a Mini Cooper SUV. And so I went insane and whispered to him that I hated him and he was a horrible father.
I think it's safe to say that this did get into your
I mean, no, that's just how I dream. It's a wild time.
When we're trying to break things down, when it comes up the most when we really like something or really hate something.
Yeah.
And it's that ultimately I need to be having fun.
Sure.
What that looks like can be different, but if I'm not having fun, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm having fun.
Which
it took a little bit, but I am.
Somebody asked us semi-recently, and that is the reason why we quit the Wheel of Time, because we were not having fun. Not even in a way that we could, like, make fun of it. It was just we didn't like it.
We're not afraid of being critical, but why
I'm going to spend my time being mad at something
that someone else likes? Like, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
So Madeline did go see Roderick in that basement.
Yeah.
And he's staring at the wall. We've already talked about how...
I think definitely Rufus is in there.
That's what we assume. But we've already talked about how this show, Mike Flanagan in this show, can blindside us with inevitability.
Yeah.
So if it is in fact Rufus, I'm still looking forward to seeing how we get to that place.
If it's not Rufus, then I think it's Annabelle.
I have a terrible niggling suspicion that Dopin is going to end up bricked in a wall. I don't know why. I just sort of feel like, I don't know, maybe Madeline's in the basement prepping it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I'm throwing that out there.
I'm not anti
their relationship. I'm so into their relationship right now that I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, but then how would this family live on forever?
I don't know.
think that's the whole reason why he's giving the confession.
Why he's confessing,
and so he has his way to live on forever.
I'm certainly not anti that. I just like also
I'm watching this. I was like, because I was just trying to imagine where we're going.
He's just such a good man that it would make me sad.
How does that fare for
bad
good men in Edgar Allan Poe stories? Frederick.
Yeah.
What is his name?
It is Frederick. But
Frederick. I couldn't.
They call him.
I understand
Frederick.
that,
okay.
but I couldn't get Frederick.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't get my hands around the name Frederick.
He is off the deep end.
Yeah.
It's kind of terrifying.
It's super terrifying.
He's drugging her.
Yeah, he's drugging.
I didn't think her
Morella.
situation could get worse.
No. Well, I mean, do you really want to be feeling that? I think I'd rather get knocked out.
But she's not knocked out, though. She's aware.
Awake.
Yeah.
She's aware. She's
psychologically torturing her.
Okay, all right, guys.
Parading her daughter around in front of her.
That part.
Oh, so that's when he's talking about how much of a liar and stuff she is. It's so she hears it. It's for her benefit, not the daughter. Despicable. Gross. I hate it.
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to bite her for tongue and choke herself? That's what I would do.
I don't know.
That's what I would do after a while.
But Henry Thomas's performance was really coming off comical in the earlier episodes.
Now it's just manic. It's
creepy. Scary.
Yeah.
Well, also it's just okay because that was one of the things that we were talking about, and Will kind of let it slip by accident. I think he thought we were one episode further than we were. I still wanted it to be the thing that I was thinking, that he thought she was the informant, but he just thinks she was having sex with Perry, and that's so boring.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
I'm bored.
I'm striking that from the record.
Yeah.
He thinks she's the informant.
No, like, and like he said that, and I was like, oh, we have not gotten confirmation on that. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So like, what a boring man you have to be like
so pedestrian.
It's just like, also, do you, even if she was fucking your baby half brother, do you not think she's suffered enough getting 3rd-degree acid burns to her entire body? I've suffered enough.
Yeah.
And this is
because he thinks that he needs to embarrass her. Because
I am already embarrassed.
No, but in his mind, he has to take it that step further. He has to break her mind as well as her body.
Yeah.
Let's watch Crimson Peak when
this
is over.
Yeah, all right. Literally anytime. Anytime.
We should probably actually tell Tamerlane's.
Well, that's why I was trying to get the rest of it out, and I was going to finish with that because we had another check-in with Juno. I have no idea who she is, what she is. I like
sad
it.
For her.
I love it. Ruth is so good, and that scene that Tamerlane and Juno had together, the fact that Juno was getting through to Tamerlane made it even worse. Yeah. Like, made it even heavier.
Just how sad she is, where she was like, I never had a family, and I was so excited. I found you guys, and I was so happy that there was just so many people around, and then
I could be part of something.
And all this started happening, and she was just like, I'm just so sorry. And
she's talking about being alone in the house and it being cold.
And too many stairs. She's got a prosthetic leg.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was stunning. And just to see her, Juno, there trying to help Tamerlane when they've given her nothing.
Yep. And she even said, she was like, when things like this happen, I thought people usually come together, and we've never been farther apart.
Yeah.
So I don't know quite what the culmination of her arc is going to be, because
she's also taking like 40 Ligadone pills in one go.
It's so with these types of story, I like to study genre. I'm not an expert. It's certainly not with this type of gothic horror, but it's not unheard of to have like a victor, or to have, it's kind of like Cosette and Les Miserables. Like somebody tends to survive and get a happy ending. So I mean, but
I saw, like I said, I think I saw her at the second funeral.
I don't remember. That was so many instances ago.
But she was sitting separate from Roderick. She was sitting on the other side of the aisle. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by her.
Her liver has got to be like on the outs, right? That's too many pills.
Yeah.
And we don't have Victorine and Ruiz to work on a liver mesh.
Yeah, because liver is your like filtration system, right? Or is that your kidneys?
Both.
Okay.
But the liver is regenerative. It's
very resilient.
Does the liver, is that affected by opioids as well?
We might be going too deep.
I don't know. Because
I mean, I'm sure it's affected by opioids, but I don't know that opioids affect the liver like alcohol does the same way.
I don't know. I just know, like, if you take ibuprofen, it's supposed to poke holes in your stomachs, and like if it's NSAIDs or whatever, it can like poke holes in your stomach.
That's why
I think like aspirin.
Well, that's why we switch off a lot. Like we'll switch from aspirin to ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Tylenol's the one that's hard on your liver.
Okay. Because I used to take aspirin a lot when I was young for cramps, and I started throwing up.
Aspirin's hard on your stomach.
Yeah.
So anyways, so Tamerlane had her big launch of Goldbug.
She's also still losing time.
Yeah, she's just falling asleep.
And she's hallucinating inside the house about all kinds of, like, Bill coming back, or, like, herself. And then also Verna as herself. She's, like, having a lot going on.
I mean, yeah, considering that I was like, I'm building up to this, I mean, it is what it was. She was giving her presentation. And she salvaged it, like, a good 3 times. And still, it kept crumbling. And you saw it coming a mile away, of course, that video footage of her and Bill and Candy, was that her name? Was playing. And again, I mean, I know that
Juno in the front row.
She was, because she kept on saying, what the fuck are you doing here? Because she kept seeing Verna, but she was right behind Juno, and Juno was like, I'm supporting you.
And even when, like, there was that silence, and she was like, "Are we so happy to be here?" And Juno was like, "Yeah." I was like, I felt that, because in like school and stuff, if the teachers like ask a question and nobody would answer, I'd be like, "I'll follow the sword. I'll do it." Like,
well, I did love that it followed that moment in the big house with the two of them. That I feel like Juno got there. I feel like she got there early. She got a seat in the front row because she was like, "Oh, maybe that was like, you know, a lifeline," and it just bit her in the ass.
Well, again, because
or the forehead.
The thing I was gonna say is, like, the video started playing, and you know, I am not precious. I'm not prude in that way, and I was just sort of like, I understand that, and actually, I mean, it kind of because the audience didn't really react as strongly as Tamerlane was reacting, but I was like, I mean, if anything, this is in your favor, because it's just establishing consent and boundaries and, like...
Sure. It's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, it was like, this is making me like her.
Because it's like, when she talked about... Because this is how you spin it. When she talked about how each one of the boxes were curated to your lifestyle, if that started to play, be like, well, I didn't really want to say it like this, but, like, I do have, like, a very kink-centric sex life, like, and this is how I do it, and whatever.
I hate that I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this, and I won't say the name, but a certain politician was in trouble at a show recently, and my favorite tweet about it was Caleb, I can't think of his name, but it was like, I can't believe that we have to pretend that it's not awesome that woman jerked that guy off in a theater. And that's sort of where I'm at. I'm just sort of like that would have just made me like Tamerlane.
Well, it's like, I feel like we were watching something like this kind of similar recently, and I was, we were watching Desperate Housewives, and I was like, it's just not even like bringing the third party into it is the kinkiest part of what's going on. The fact that Tamerlane is like watching and directing the sex that's happening is like, that's up there too, but it's also like she's not directing them to do anything like super out of pocket.
Yeah, all it was to bring the woman pleasure, where it was just like, she was like, eat her ass while she's reading a book. Just like,
I'm just
enrichment.
Enrichment in your enclosure.
Yeah.
You
know, live your life, babe.
Oh man!
But in that regard, it's good, and it works that it was like the public didn't turn on her. Tamerlane sabotaged
she did it to herself.
thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like there's like levels of like inappropriate based on what was happening. It's certainly unprofessional to like do that at your business launch.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like and obviously it is humiliating for people to know about your sex life when you are not open about that. Like, I don't believe anybody knows they bring a third party into their marriage on a regular basis, but I feel the same as I did with the Desperate Housewives, where I'm just like, I mean, just spank your husband. Like, if that's what he needs, just do it.
So we had a very spectacular climax with Tamerlane in a very spectacular emerald green dress that was lit very spectacularly by the neon sign that we had noticed outside.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure she was going through a window. This was better. And
once the climax reached the bedroom, I was like, well, we've established the mirrored walls in their bedroom, so it's got to be. Yeah.
And that kind of, because you're right, there's like a sense of control and vanity to her. Yeah. And that is, I mean, that punishment suits that crime.
Yeah.
Buy Fairytale on Amazon.com. There's so many things that I was like, oh, check.
Hello.
So I think that's that.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to watch. We got 2 more.
2 more.
It felt like we had so many more, and now I'm like, there's not enough.
Yeah.
Although that last one's like 75 minutes.
It is, yeah. We'll see.
Let's get going.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.